Hope you folks don't mind if I hope you don't mind if I have a little breakfast. Sugar-free Red Bulls, unofficial drink of the channel. And I made myself a mess of turkey hot dogs for breakfast. I didn't really feel like cooking too much or anything like that. So that's usually one of several default breakfasts I have when I don't feel like cooking. I mean, a big staple of my diet is turkey. So cheers, everybody. Got our vitamin B in there. We got B1, B6, B12, algae-based DHA, EPA, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, and some aspirin. Cheers. Well, actually, to be more specific, vitamin B1 in the form of benfotiamine with R-alpha lipoic acid. The natural form of B6 called P5P. Pyridoxine 5-phosphate. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Pyridoxine 5-phosphate. Cheers. What's going on, Ellie? How you doing? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Oh, we're going to get into this. But I hope you're all having a great Sunday. We are going to really talk about this condescending language that Mr. Ken Goldin has now spewed out of his mouth, and it's pissed off a lot of people. So I've kind of waited for a while before my input, and many of you know, if you watch my channel, I'm very pragmatic. I'm not going to pull any punches. So if you're easily offended, you might as well leave now, because I'm going to let him have it. So I'm not going to censor my language. I'm not going to use code unless, it's something that I know YouTube will strike down. But we are going to get into this subject. Because quite frankly, Ken Goldin needs to be forced to be chained to a light post for a week and let him see what it's like to be homeless. And just a quick recap. I just took a shot glass of all of my vitamin B supplements for the blood sugar and the nerves and all that kind of stuff. The new P5P, the natural B6, I can tell it's had an amazing effect on me. I'm sleeping better. I'm not jumping out of my sleep in the middle of the night. And so far, it's working quite well. And of course, we got the unofficial drink of the channel, sugar-free Red Bulls. So how can I say your name when your screen name is different? Logical assessment, isn't it? I'll call you Nosara. How's that? Cheers, everybody. Turkey hot dogs. Wait for a couple more minutes, and then I'll give you my take as to what I think about Mr. Ken Goldin's little tirade. I've waited for a while to see what other content creators are going to put out there, and of course, they're very self-censored. I'm not going to pull any punches because I know what it's like to go through hard times. I've talked about this on the channel. Recently, you look at my whore ex-girlfriend who spread her legs for another man on Valentine's Day. People like Ken Goldin need to be handcuffed, to a light post in the middle of a rainstorm and need to be reminded of what it is to have nothing. That there are people in this country, and a lot of it's not by choice. It's not self-inflicted like a drug addict or anything like that, or a fentanyl addict. But there are a lot of people that are out there. And there are people that, unfortunately, working class families, working people who lost their jobs, who lost their homes because they couldn't keep up with the mortgages. that have been forced into homelessness. And those are the people that I fully support because I know what that shit's like. I've been through it myself. Getting stabbed in the back by people who I thought were my friends, my brothers, and all that bullshit. But again, I'll give it a few more minutes before I really let loose. Pardon me. You know what it is? It's really humid outside, and I got my door cracked open over here so I can feel the humidity in my apartment. Yeah, the weather's been really strange. Again, we're having, if you know the South, especially where I am in North Carolina, in South Charlotte, generally, it's like a sine curve with the weather around this time. It can be really warm or it can be really cold. So, you know, it was at first we had all that snow. And then a couple days ago, it was like 80 degrees outside. Alexa, what's the current forecast?
The current weather is 50 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 51 degrees and a low of 29 degrees.
So it's going to be 30 degrees tonight. It's gorgeous outside right now. It's very spring-like. All right. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. It is now 20 minutes to 11 o'clock my time here on the East Coast. I hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. Before I begin, many of you have already done so already. Thank you for this. You know, if you're new to the channel, hit that thumbs up. Most of you have already. Also, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate your subscriptions. The channel has grown again over the past couple days, so thank you for that. Also, if you want to help to support the channel financially, I do have an eBay store called the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box below. You click on that link, it'll take you right over to my eBay store. But we're going to get into this topic because this is quite disgusting because unfortunately, look at that. Oh, I wish you folks can see this beautiful eagle that's sitting. I wonder if I can flip the camera here quick. You might not be able to see him. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Oh, where is he? Ah, right there. What the hell? I flew off, damn it. Never mind. Never mind. Beautiful, beautiful looking bird. Hoot owls are out last night because the weather is getting warmer, so they're on the hunt. You're seeing bald eagles flying around here now. I love how nature, you know, starts to appear the way it does when the weather warms up. It's gorgeous. All right. I guess we can start talking about Mr. Ken Goldin. Forgive me if I'm hiccuping and all that stuff. It's still early in the morning, and I got a plate full of turkey hot dogs here. So let's start from the beginning. You know, I do sell sports cards, baseball cards primarily on eBay, and other items from time to time. Most of the stuff I do sell is mostly low end, but there are some $20 cards, $30 cards, $100 cards. You know, there's one big card up for sale right now over at my eBay store, and that's the Barry Bonds auto, which is still up there. And I'm still wrestling with whether or not to pull this down because now the market's been flooded with Barry Bonds autographs. I actually posted a photo over at my community page of one of the best Barry Bonds autos I've ever seen. If I had the money, I'd get it. Unfortunately, I don't. I have this one currently. And now I'm starting to debate whether or not I want to sell it or not at this point. It's my right. It's my card until I sell it, if I sell it. But now that the market's been saturated with Barry Bonds autos, it's going to devalue every auto that came before it. So with that being said, you know, I've got to learn quite a bit over the past 2 years selling baseball cards over at my eBay store. Cheers, everyone. And what Ken Goldin has said recently. It's funny because listening to these sports card talking heads, they self-censor because I should say, because they have sponsorships and they're getting money. This channel is not monetized. I sponsor myself. thanks to the wonderful generosity of my eBay customers, I actually got some more orders over the past 24 hours right here that I have to process. But the cards are already pulled. I think I showed this on camera yesterday when I did that live stream. There's an Aqua Color Match J-Rod card. There's an Ellie and there's another card. I think actually this Tim Raines right here is for that shipping label. But I'll do all that stuff during the day today. A lot of people cannot afford to buy boxes and packs of cards. It's too expensive. It's become way out of people's reach, unfortunately. I stopped buying wax last year because I'm disenfranchised with the hobby. And because of the constant flexing by those like Ken Goldin and the likes of Jeff Wilson, like what happened with Pac-Man recently and all these box breakers, the flexing is what's getting the hobby into trouble. As a result, like what happens in a Pokemon TCG space, Rattle Pokemon, Opossum Bud, and many other content creators in that space have now been suffering the wrath of the flexing that goes on. We as content creators, I love talking about, jerseys, hats, Transformers toys, sneakers, whatever it is. And, it keeps me busy. I have, there are a lot of fellow collectors throughout these various spaces that, you have a lot in common with. That's how you get to know people across the internet, the free exchange of information and ideas. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. But, we love this stuff, man. But unfortunately, with the flexing that has gone on, it has really made these hobbies a target for theft. And we've seen this recently. I have a whole playlist on my channel talking about this, called Hobby Crimes, where now people's homes are being robbed of graded slabs, closed boxes of product, vintage product. Local card shops are being robbed with smash and grabs. Thank God here in North Carolina, we are a pro to a self-defense state where we have General Assembly 14-52.1.2 and .3, which is the Castle Doctrine or the Stand Your Ground law. So if anybody breaches my home, I have the right to run out your power meter, if you understand what I'm saying, is I have no duty to retreat in my home. Different story outside my home. Unfortunately, we have that. It's nice to review things, so long as you come from a position of being humble. I went through all sorts of hard times, man. I've talked about this loosely on the channel. It's not the center of my life anymore because I've mostly moved past it, but I only bring it up as a frame of reference. I worked in construction for many, many years, like my father before me, up until 2011. I volunteered at the World Trade Center site in 2001 from the 12th to the 16th. And it was pretty brutal. It was awful. The things that I saw up here, really scrambled my brain, so to speak. It's natural. It happens when you see things that maybe you're not supposed to see or were never meant to see. But foolishly, I kept going back and going back and going back for them first 5 days after it happened. September 16th is when FEMA took over. And to this day, I still deal with that survivor's guilt. Should I have gone back? Was I right to stay home? Was I a coward? Those questions still linger to this day. Every one of us deals with that were at that site, for the most part. But the symptoms of all of that toxic sludge to this day remain in my system, unfortunately. I deal with chronic insomnia. Now, the blood sugar issues that I got are still up in the air as far as whether it's related to that or not, but it's probably just a symptom of age because I am going to be 50 years old next year. But I've had to deal with all this stuff. I dealt with homelessness as a result of that. After losing a fruitful career in the union that I went to school for, did a 5-year apprenticeship. I worked on all sorts of awesome jobs, and you notice I'm wearing New York Yankees stuff today, which the Yankees, man, they were, what was it, 18 runs yesterday, 20 runs, some crazy freaking number. Aaron Judge, again, is showing that he's a boss, but I did work at the new Yankee Stadium. There's the ID card right there from Almar Plumbing, when I was doing the concession stands and the finish work. But unfortunately, over time, all that toxic stew ran amok in my body, and I was suffering from depression and was going on benders all the time, drinking, not giving a shit about anything. I lost faith in myself because everything that I was taken from me as a result of having to fight in the courts to get everything I currently have now. And that took over probably 20 years or so to successfully do that with 2 teams of lawyers. Or actually 3 teams of lawyers to fight for everything that I have. And I suffered with depression and everything else and ended up becoming homeless as a result. And once money finally started to come in, I moved down here to North Carolina. I've been here since, been down here now for 10 years. This year will make 10 years. And I had to start all over again. You know, with that money that I got, at the time, I bought stuff for my father, you know, medical stuff that he can use or had used or needed. You know, he was in a wheelchair, couldn't even shave his own face. So I bought him an electric razor to cut his face and bought him things that he needed and sent my family various amounts of money to do the right thing for my family and all that kind of stuff. Paid off all my credit card debts as best as I could. You know, and the rest I made sure I got all new furniture. This is not a flex. This is because I wanted to make sure that after suffering like the way I did, that my life would be comfortable. Not that I'm arrogant about it, but I'm very fortunate that I do have these things because I fought long and hard. And a lot was sacrificed. I got stabbed in the back by people. I was thrown under the bus. I was swept off to the side. I was treated like a leper. That's what human beings do. When someone in their social group suffers, they will pull that person out of the group like a rotten apple from a tree and throw them over the cliff. Fortunately for me, I defeated all of that stuff and came out on top, probably better than ever. And I made sure to make my life as comfortable as I could. And whatever was left, I pumped into my little eBay business. And I've been doing it now for 2 years, come this June. I will never forget, and even in the 9/11 family, and notice how I didn't use the C word because I don't believe in communism. Fuck communism. And even some people in the 9/11 community should be ashamed of themselves for voting Democrat, but it's not my place to tell people who to vote for. But, you know, you would think after now New York City, what it did with this Mayor Mamdani tearing itself to pieces like it is, you are what you eat. And meanwhile, here I am. Oops. But that's another subject for another time. But a lot of these people, you would think they would have learned their lesson. When people are out there saying, oh, I'm going to help you, I'll give you all this for free, I'm going to give you free groceries, it always comes at a cost, doesn't it? You know what that cost is? Your personal freedoms, your dignity, and your self-respect, because you now have allowed yourself to become a slave to the person at the podium. Most people in positions of power forget where they come from. Just like Trump, just like Biden, just like George Bush, Sr. and Jr., just like Bill Clinton. All of them, whether you're Democrat or Republican, they all forget where they come from. They forget their roots. I do give Trump credit that he went to McDonald's and all that stuff, cooking McDonald's and serving the public and giving mothers grocery money right out of his pocket, driving around a garbage truck during his campaign. It goes to show he cares about the working class people in this country. But there are people that forget where they come from, and Ken Goldin is no different. Just like Jeff Wilson, just like Pac-Man, just like all these box breakers in the sports card hobby, they all forget. My roots, I was a wild child, out of control for a lot of the time. But this is a different time, a different era, and I'm not going to be beholden to anybody or anybody else's bullshit. This is now. That was then. It's back there. And you learn to take a look at things more objectively as you get older and more experienced. And let me tell you, even having this plate of turkey hot dogs here There are people that don't even have that. Let me tell you, I hope none of you ever experience what it's like to be homeless. It's the most degrading, demoralizing, inhumane, lonely, and depressing experience that anyone could ever have. I'm not going to lie to you. I almost killed myself, almost committed suicide several times in my own car because I couldn't take it no more. I didn't know what to do. And then just out of the clear blue, all this money started coming in. I'm like, if I stay here in New York, because people in New York are incapable of forgiveness, a lot of them, they just want things and they want and they want and they want, and they don't give anything in return. A lot of people like this, like in the 501st Legion, the costume group that I used to volunteer with. They would take and take and take and take and take and not give. They would actually do free volunteer events and complain that the organizers were feeding them pizza. Be fucking grateful. Who pronoun fucking freaks, and believe me, a lot of them are ex-alcoholics and drug addicts and criminals themselves. We all know what Star Wars is about these days. A lot of them are perverts, who think that society should be dictated by what's between your legs and who you want to fuck or who you fantasize about fucking, where it should be about your deeds and what you do and how you carry yourself and your character. It's like Martin Luther King said, it shouldn't be based on the color of your skin. It should be based on the content of your character. But these Star Wars freaks, of course, just like with the left and their septum rings, everything's about who they currently are fucking or who they fantasize about fucking or what they want to fuck. That's why a lot of them dress like dogs and cats, the whole furry thing, because they're genetically fucking disturbed in their brains. And I'm not apologizing for any of it, so don't look for it, don't ask for it. A lot of them are freaks. They're freak shows, period. And there's an arrogance that's there. They don't even say thank you, good morning, good afternoon, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. They don't treat each other with dignity. You ever watch some of those videos in some of these African countries when, charity organizations bring grain and wheat in trucks and you see people with baskets looking to get this shit? That's New York for you. Those are the people in New York. When you have a fascist dictator like Mamdani, it's even happened in Virginia recently with this new governor, they lied during their campaigns, and now they expect unwavering obedience from their voting base. And of course now more taxes, more regulations, more laws. But whose fault is that? Not Trump's. That's you. That's your fault. You, the voter, did that. You, the asshole, selfish voter who doesn't want to work for a living. I worked. I put in 13 years into a fruitful union career. And what I'm getting out of it now, I put into the system what I paid into the system. And there are people that don't like that because of their poor choices. They made bad choices. That's not my fault. That's not Trump's fault. You did that to yourself. It's like the mother of my children. They all worked in fucking real estate, every last one of them. And when the market crashed in New York, what did her father do, who barely speaks English? He tried to open up bars and work in bars and work at Toyota illegally while collecting Social Security. You are allowed to make money when you are on Social Security up to a certain dollar amount. But this man was literally trying to run businesses up in New York, multiple businesses, and got away with it because she works for Social Security herself. But she's Hispanic, so she can get away with it. Again, I'm not apologizing for my words. Facts are facts. And we all know what places like New York cater to. Fuck the white man. I'm just saying it, and I'm not apologizing. And if you're looking for one, that's just tough shit. And even certain black people that support President Trump, who are conservatives, they get shit on, and they're called Uncle Toms and traitors and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's not right either. But anyway, with all that being said, I've got to learn this goofy system that we are all in, inside and out and upside down. And a lot of these people try to trap you with language. They try to trap you with their sexual identity. They play fucking victim. But meanwhile, look what happened in France with Antifa recently, with them killing somebody. Andy No, God bless his soul, has been calling this stuff out for many years now. But anyway, we're kind of getting into the political mud here. There are people that forget where they come from. And Ken Goldin, to me, is one such individual, just like Jeff Wilson. And I hate to pick on Jeff Wilson, but he's a symptom of this problem as well. My customer base mostly buys low-end baseball cards. I know what it's like not to have anything. I know what it's like to be in front of a judge, basically having committees and specialists and lawyers and doctors and all of this shit, basically being in control of your life. And what I had to go through in the court system to get what I have today, it was the most demeaning thing I've ever experienced, having to literally beg for the things that I have currently today, what I fought for. And of course, I'll be attacked for it. He's a fraud, or, he's got white privilege and toxic masculinity and blah, blah, blah. No, I earned it and fought for it and worked for it. And that's why I started my own business, because I want to feel useful. I know I still have things to contribute to society, which is why I opened up my own little eBay business here at home. Because I don't want to be somebody sitting around with a remote control in his hand, gaining 500 pounds, eating fucking waffles and fucking Burger King all day. That's why I eat turkey hot dogs. Low fat, low sodium content. Cheers. I never forgot my roots, and I never forget where I come from. And people who know me know that. The handful of graded slabs that I have, even if these were the only 6 graded slabs that I've kept, I'm happy I have these. These may be the only 6 slabs that I have. Maybe I'll sell them all off and keep one. I'm happy I have these. And these are bucket list slabs, with the exception of the Barry Bonds auto. Let's just say if I pull down that listing for that Barry Bonds auto, these 5 slabs right here for me are enough. The Aaron Judge Bowman Chrome Refractor, the Shohei Ohtani batting rookie Bowman Chrome, the Paul Skeens that I have, the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, star rookie, and the Don Mattingly rookie. All bucket list items. There are people who cannot afford those cards. This is true. But things are not being said. And I'm going to say them, because fuck Ken Goldin and fuck Jeff Wilson, fuck Pac-Man, fuck these box breakers, and everybody like them. There are people there, and it's the sports card hobby, let's face it, mostly consists of men. And we all know how men are being treated in our society today. You're worthless. You have to kiss a woman's ass. Look what I went through recently with this fucking whore that spread her legs open to another man, and I caught her on fucking YouTube here, cheating on me for no reason. And I'm the bad guy? I don't think so. This is what feminism has taught women to do. Use one guy, move on to the next, like leeches, like a virus. They are a virus. Feminists and women like this woman are a fucking disease on our society. No, women don't have to clean toilets and slave in the kitchen and cook and clean, do all that shit and do laundry and be baby makers. No, they are capable of doing some great, wonderful things. But at the end of the day, they're being taught to be paraded around. They're taught to be the pretty little princess. That men have to kiss their ass 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I say, fuck that nonsense. No. I don't think so. Men invented airline flight. Men invented fucking medicine. Men invented running water. Men invented carpentry and electricity and the light bulb and the cell phone and the computer. And the list goes on and on and on. If it wasn't for us, these women would have nothing. But I digress. A lot of men, and it's mostly men in this hobby, you don't know what kind of jobs these men have. Maybe they work in a fucking coal mine. They're working an extremely hard and extremely difficult job, working in a coal mine, let's just say. Thank God for President Trump for opening up our coal mines again. What if they're a union construction worker? I've been down that road. You know how hard high-rise construction is? What if you're what do they call them? Sand hogs, they call them, the ones that dig tunnels underneath the ground. You know how hard that job is? And the elements that those men, and sometimes women, the kind of element that they're in when they're down underground digging tunnels for subways and freight trains and shit like that. I know what that's like being in high-rise construction. Here's my, again, Turner Construction when I was working for Almar Plumbing. Working outdoors in harsh conditions all day long. You can be working in a 50 or 60 story high-rise and have snow right on your feet inside of a building because there's no windows and there's no escape. So you have to wear layers and layers and layers and special jumpsuits to keep yourself warm. What about people that are fixing the fucking roads and the highways in the middle of the summer, like down here? You know, a lot of highway men here, the North Carolina Department of Transportation, a lot of them work at night. First, because it's safer, there's less cars on the road, and also because it's fucking 90 to 100 degrees out here sometimes. Anybody that lives in the deep south knows that they'll do their work at nighttime because it's just too hot to work outside. So they make their deals and they'll do the road work outside at night to prevent being beat up by that sun, because then nobody would come to work. That's a fact. What about men that are on call? Firefighters, police officers, EMTs, for example. And they get a call that somebody died or something like that, or there's a crime in progress, and they're here with their families eating. And whatever little time that they have left, unless they intentionally take time off, they have to sacrifice their personal time to go help somebody else because that's the job that they chose. And then you see some god-awful things that I'm not going to get into here on camera. What about those people? Ken Goldin is way off on this. What about men that went through hard, like me, with this cheating thing that happened with me, with this woman spreading her legs open, fucking another man on Valentine's Day with the photos that I've showed here on camera? You got men that are going through really awful divorces, fighting to see their kids, going into the court, having to fight off a selfish fucking woman for the right for them to be a father to their kids. And the only thing that man has left when he's by himself is the right to open up a pack of baseball cards. You can't even get jumbo boxes anymore. I've tried myself. I've given up buying wax. It's too expensive and you're getting less product in these boxes. It's turned into gambling now because now the smell of money is now around the hobby. And these guys, and even some of you women out there, again, forgive me if it sounds like I'm picking on women. There are good women out there. A lot of them are awful. You have a hard day at work. Let's just say you're a school teacher. I'm not talking about one of these rainbow septum wearing, it what who pronoun fag supporters that are out there who are trying to push the rainbow flag on little innocent kids. I'm talking about legitimate, real teachers like I grew up with, who are trying to teach a difference between right and wrong to our kids. And they're having to deal with screaming kids all day. They're having to deal with the administrators. Most of them are part of the teachers' union, so they're dealing with the politics and all that shit. And you're dealing with all sorts of stress. And then you come home one day and you just want to stretch out and relax. And you're stressed. And all you want to do is open up a pack of baseball cards just to take your mind away. A lot of us, all of us, I think normal human beings, the normies, have to pay rent, have to pay mortgage, have to pay off your mortgage, pay off your car. You have to keep the electric going. You have to pay for food. And then you have to go to work and you have to deal with the family stuff and you're dealing with all this crap. And at the end of the day, all you want to do is just unwind. You want escapism. You can't afford to open up these packs of cards. How dare fucking Ken Goldin come out and say what he said? It's completely out of line and out of touch. Now, there are scumbags in this hobby. I already talked about this last night in one of my live streams about how you have people that are trying to con people out of their sports cards. The famous one I dealt with is the card swapping. There are people trying to claim their cards are showing up damaged. I had to go to all extreme lengths to use tamper-proof labels to take photos of my cards before shipping using a centering tool to actually get the true centering of the card so I know exactly where that card sits. And then I'll tell the person that's trying to swipe out their damaged card for my good card and say, let me see a photo of that. Because I happen to have photos of that card using a centering tool and the corners and all of it. Once you open up that card, that's your card. Unless I make a mistake and I send the wrong card, which has happened, prove to me that that's actually my card and they can't do it, and then they'll throw insults at you. And this is one of many scams that happen. People cracking open slabs today to swap out the good card for the bad card and then resubmit it, and then all of a sudden the card comes out a fucking PSA 9 or a PSA 10. You got a lot of fake cards out there. There are all sorts of scams going on. And we as consumers now are being forced, especially content creators, are being forced to police these hobby spaces. Again, much credit to Rattle Pokemon and Opossum Bud and many other content creators. Just like in the video game space with Pat the NES Punk, or Not Tripping in the sneaker space, who calls out this shit regularly. Even myself, I got that whole playlist at the post office. I've talked about it here on the regular. With postal workers getting drunk on a job, stealing gift cards and checks, check washing. It happened right here in Valentine, in the next county over. with people's checks getting washed. This post office right here was investigated several times for throwing out people's mail in the dumpster. And the fucking drum in this post office has been sitting there broken for over a year now. It's almost 2 years now that fucking drum has been broken. With all that being said, there are a lot of people that are out there that can't afford this. I got lucky. I found this on eBay for $300. The slab was cracked. I resubmitted it to SGC. I paid $300 for it. We're now looking at a $1,500 card in an SGC 10 holder. If this was a PSA holder, which I still can't stand how fucking picky sports card hobbyists are, holders should be a holder. If PSA, let's think about the logic now. If PSA have bought out SGC and Beckett, you would think that because it's under the same umbrella, the way the grading is, you would consider this to be a PSA card. But no, it's too big. It's too thick. I don't like the label. The habits of the sports card collector need to change when it comes to that sort of thing. But after that, there are people that cannot afford that refractor, that Bowman Chrome refractor. So what do? They default the cards like this. This one is going to a buddy of mine in New York when I have the chance. I actually have a whole collection of New York Yankees stuff I pulled out of my personal collection. Refractors, relics, prisms, all that kind of stuff. So this is all going to a friend of mine, because I have a good friend who sent me the 1989 Fleer box and sent me all sorts of junk wax cards and all that stuff. So, and this is a good guy. I'll say he's a member of the 9/11 family. That's as much as I'm going to get into. But this is going to him when I have the opportunity. I'm still adding cards to this. But there are people out there that can't afford this, especially for what they're going for now. They can only afford this. And this is where my loathing of people like Ken Goldin starts to show, because I'm sure he earned his fortune. I'm sure he worked for it. I believe in capitalism. When you earn things and you work hard to earn your income, you deserve it. You deserve everything that you get as far as making money is concerned. And as a result of that, he can afford to buy nice things. I'm at that point now in my life that thanks to my eBay sales, I can afford to buy nice hats like this. This is a hat. This is my hat, the 9/11 anniversary hat I bought recently. This is the fan version of the one of many 9/11 hats that the Yankees wore. And you could tell it's not the player version because the latest one that they had, this is correct in its design on front. However, the New York Yankees symbol on the side of the hat would be smaller and white, and the bottom of the brim would be black, and the New Era logo would be white. That's the player version. So this is the fan version. And they intentionally made this hat different so that, you can tell a difference between the two. And then, of course, you have the lower tier, which is the snapback. It's like the jersey I'm wearing, for example. This is my Aaron Judge jersey that I modified. There's the new star patch on the sleeve. And they're basically wearing the same stuff. Like I saw yesterday when the Yankees were playing, that they've basically regurgitated this. I mean, Yankees jerseys really don't change. They're very traditional. But Aaron Judge, you can see the gold logo man that I put on here myself. I chemically peeled the logo man that was on a jersey and ironed on a gold logo man because he's MVP again. So this is how his jersey is going to look this season. But this is the middle tier jersey, the $179 jersey you would get at Fanatics. Because I don't want to pay $400 for another jersey like I did before. That was very foolish of me to do so. And I had an Anthony Volpe jersey I'd sold for like $80, whatever it was. I lost a ton of money on that jersey because Volpe's performances were awful. And that jersey was very expensive. So I decided to go with the middle tier jersey, which is the limited player version of that. And I'm quite content because it looks like a player jersey. It has the feel of a player jersey. And I don't have to worry if I ruin the jersey, if I customize it. Like now I got this was on their shirts last year. This exact patch is on their shirts again this year. And then, of course, again, like I said, I changed the logo, man. Now, of course, you have the lowest tier of this jersey. It would have Judge on the back. It would have his name written there. And maybe that's all people can afford. That's why people buy bootleg sneakers, for example. Here, I got 2 examples of sneakers here. My favorite all-time shoes, my all-time favorite colorway, the Nike Air Jordan White Cement 4s. I talked about these on the channel. I did the repaint on the mesh. You would think these were dead stock. These are from 2016, these shoes. And I've already started wearing them because I've got the 2025 versions of those shoes right here. But why am I going to throw away a good pair of shoes when I can just try to fix them and repaint them? In other words, I appreciate this shit because there are people out there that don't have footwear on their feet at all. They can't afford this. And I don't care about their value. They're not wrapped in airtight plastic up on a shelf collecting dust. I wear my shoes. I consider myself lucky I have these. And people like Ken Goldin don't seem to understand that not everybody can afford these cards. And the reason a lot of these sports card people flex like the way they do, and the only reason why I flex is because you got people that are out there that don't know what they're talking about, or they troll the channel, or they don't like me personally, or they want to attack me and all that kind of shit. And that's when I flex, like with this asshole on eBay yesterday. I flexed my jersey collection because he thought I didn't know what I was talking about. But then meanwhile, when I show him 100 sports jerseys in my personal collection, suddenly people like that have nothing to say. Oops. And I've been collecting jerseys and toys for over 20 years. And I have to attack some Transformers fans out there as well because look at how far we've come since the 1980s, since I was a kid. Be grateful that we have the fucking engineering with some of these toys that they have to look exactly like. I can imagine some young Gen Z idiot out there with this sound wave rubbing one off in a corner somewhere. But look at how far we've come with the Studio Series versions of these toys. They look cartoon accurate. They might have their flaws here and there, but be fucking grateful that we have these. Some people can't afford this shit. And when people, even I bitch, moaned and complained about it, I still think it's not a bad toy. When they came out with this, that's a Transformers Devastation Prime. This is a budget Prime. People couldn't afford Missing Link Optimus Prime. So what did Hasbro do? They came out with this, the Legacy Prime. Because people couldn't afford the price of a Missing Link Optimus Prime. So Hasbro put this out. And now there are options for people that don't have money. But don't call them fucking poor. Don't call them poor. Mr. Ken Goldin, and the fucking Jeff Wilsons and Pac-Mans of the world. Don't call these people poor. I know what that's like to fucking suffer financially. And to be treated like a piece of dirt, like I don't exist. To this day, I still have people attacking me on the internet. Oh, he's a fraud. He did this, he did that. You know, like when that girl fucking had me arrested for no reason, finding out that she was here as an illegal immigrant overstaying her visa. And because I didn't bow to her whims and leave my friends behind when she was trying to force me to move out of my apartment just for her and her dumb fucking nitwit son who walks around all day with his fucking headphones on his head playing video games and doesn't speak a word of English, I'm the bad guy? Bullshit. This fence-jumping whore is a bad woman and is a vagabond. She's a bad woman. And of course, the charges were dismissed, but people go out there, find your mugshots, and say, oh, look, he did do this thing. He is that thing. When I can tell you that none of that is true. And I've got the paperwork to back it all up. I always do. Cover your bets, folks. And I've showed that letter on camera several times now of the most recent farce that happened last year. Because people, like somebody flagged one of my videos, and I know who did it. I showed my own mugshot on camera because they put my mugshots out there. But then once I showed my own mugshots and made fun of them and showed the paperwork on camera that I was acquitted, that doesn't go with their narrative because they want people that want to control the fucking narrative. Where is she from? Honduras. Honduras. And I still have a copy of her passport that she very foolishly sent to me. And of course, I reported her to ICE, and I have that right as an American citizen. It is my duty to do so, and I did. Whether or not they went after her, that's not for me to say. I don't know. ICE is so busy right now across this country doing what they're doing. God bless our ICE officers and our police officers. But I sat in jail for 4 nights, and I was let go. And this happened when my father died. And the lawyer said, there's nothing in the paperwork. What did you do? I said, nothing. Except to go talk to her. When CMPD showed up the 2 times she called the police on me, the first 2 times, I was sitting in my car doing nothing. No weapons, no damage to property, never put a hand on her, never SA'd her, did nothing. And then when I came back from my dad's funeral, I had to go through all this mess just to find out something I already know or knew even at that time. That I'm guilty of nothing, just like in the past with many other things that people have tried to put out there. I've got the receipts to prove it. Because if I did do the things that people have claimed I've done, I wouldn't be in front of this camera right now, would I? Fuck you. You people lose. I win, and I always win. And that is a flex, because my reputation stands firm. Oh, he was never at the World Trade Center. He was 20 or 30 miles away. He's a fake. He's a fraud. Bullshit. You want to go up against my union? Please do so. People have done it. People actually called my union hall because of things I've talked about with my activities at the World Trade Center. I'm a fake and a fraud. The union basically told these people, go fuck themselves. It's not your business. Oops. But I digress. Again, it's like them 501st Legion homos. A lot of them are ex-drug addicts. A lot of them are pot smokers. A lot of them are convicted felons. A lot of them are divorced, single. Some of them have criminal records. Don't think that they're innocent. They're not. A lot of them tried to shut me up over the past couple of years because they threw me under the bus. But we got to shut him up because, you know why? They get free entrance to New York Comic Con or half-price tickets. Imagine you, again, you're a hardworking person and you have a family with kids. And them tickets are like $100 each. Imagine a family of 4. That's $400. Or maybe you get half price for the kids. So let's be conservative about this. Let's just say it's $300 for a family of 4. These people get in for nothing. If not, they get in for huge discounts for free. New York Yankees games. I have photos at Citi Field with us. I got photos at New York Comic Con. I still got a lot of my photos to this day. Photos over at Big Apple Con, Eternal Con, Winter Con. And they get in for free. With the New York Cosmos, they get in for free. When they were playing out in Hofstra on Long Island. They were playing at MCU Stadium, the Brooklyn Cyclones, the New York Mets minor league team. Get in for free. But when they threw me under the bus, they did everything to try to shut me up and get me off the internet. And here I am still talking about it, because fuck them. Because now we all know what Star Wars is about. It's all about pedophiles and, you know, trying to groom kids. And it's all about Marxism and fat, black, trans, guilty, white, liberal, septum ring wearing, you know, reprobates in our society. That's who they are. That's what they are, period. Not all of them. But a big majority of them are. Because they think it's what's between your legs. That's what makes a society. Not what you do, not what you've accomplished. And to this day, they want to shut me up. That's who they are, folks. Imagine you got, you know, your wife and your kids or your girlfriend, you know, whatever it is, and you want to go out to one of these events. Recently, one of them filed a privacy complaint because I showed off my own mugshots, because it proves that I am an innocent man. Anytime I've gotten into trouble with the law, it's because of someone else. And they don't like that because they want to control the narrative. And then when I talk and I show the receipts, it makes them look like fucking idiots. Because all their friends, you know, are on the mushroom head. You know what I mean? They have mushroom head, you know, mushroom head sucking friends that cross-dress, that have the rainbow fucking flag flying over their head. Most of them are themselves. And I don't accept them for what they are. Period. They can do whatever they want. I'm not out there burning down towns like Antifa does or Black Lives Matter. But I will never accept them. And that's my right to do so. Period. I don't have to like who I don't like. Period. I don't have to be with a trans woman, which is a man wearing a dress with his ding-dong taped to his fucking leg. Period. I don't believe in fucking communism and socialism. I don't believe in the government. They don't like the fact, and I've had people, these 501st assholes, these Star Wars freak shows, you know, one of them would say, oh, we wish we could be like you and sit on a cloud all day. It goes to show how jealous people are. But at the same time, you know, when I come on camera and I say, believe me, that came at a cost for me to sit on that cloud. You don't know what I've been through. How dare you fucking judge a person like me? That's why this Ken Goldin thing pisses me off to no end. This Goldin guy, this Ken Goldin doesn't know. He forgot where he came from. It's easy to be Scrooge McDuck backstroking in a pool of coins. But you don't know what people go through. That's why I freely talk about this stuff. Because people like Ken Goldin and Jeff Wilson, they don't know what it is to be the other guy. They don't know, they forgot. I'm sure they've earned their right to be at the top of the peak. Like right now, I'm on top of my little mountain. Actually, it's not even a mountain. I'll digress a little bit. It's a little hill. It's a mound of dirt. I built a mound of mud that I'm on top of. You want to call it a pile of shit? Fine. I'll even self-deprecate. I've shat on the same spot for years, and now it's built up to a big fucking pyramid of me shit. And I have my little milk crate that I sit on top of that pile of me shit. But at least I have my little pile. And I can sit up there all fucking day, all night. And I appreciate the fact that I have people that buy my baseball cards off of me for a fraction of the cost, or at least they get discounted cost from me, because people out there are fucking slaving or are going through divorce or paying child support or working these incredibly difficult jobs. Maybe you guys are picking up garbage. Maybe you work in a junkyard somewhere. Maybe you're a police officer or a firefighter. I appreciate if I have any military personnel out there, please let me know. If you're a police officer, if you're military, let me know. Maybe I'll give you an even steeper discount with my baseball cards. But there are people that can't afford this, so they have to resort to buying this because they want the hobby. They want their cake and eat it too. But yeah, this is out of the reach of some people. But don't be a fucking asshole going, nah, look what I have and you can't have it. That's fucked up. You don't know what people are going through out here, Mr. Ken Goldin. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what our military has been through. You got men and women fighting overseas to protect the freedoms that the who pronoun, guilty, fat, black, white, liberal, trans, something or others don't appreciate in this country. Let's ship them over to Afghanistan and Pakistan and Syria, to these Muslim countries, and watch how fast they get thrown off the roofs of buildings. Ham and cheese snack bar, or whatever the fuck it is that they say. I'm not going to say it here on YouTube because YouTube will get sensitive about that. Aloha snack bar. They got wrapped up with a fucking roll of tape and have a burlap sack put over their head, and they get thrown off a building just because they like men or because they're Christian. That's a fact. That's what they do. Whether you like it or not, that's what they do. That's what they do in Iran and all these fucking third world fucking pieces of dirt countries. It's dirt. And they're still fighting over dirt to this day. Because of a man with a beard and mustache and a fucking turban on his head. Or maybe there's no turban. Many of the bloodiest, most brutal wars were fought over fucking religion. Let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic here, folks. Ken Goldin is completely out of touch. You got people. You got. Let's just say, I just mentioned the farce that I went through with that illegal immigrant girl. And she's an illegal immigrant. Period. You don't like those words? Fuck you too. Get a sawzall with a rubber dildo on the end and fuck yourself. That. You got these men and women that are working in these prisons with all these psychotic maniac murderers, rapists, committed all sorts of evil crimes, and they're yelling and screaming and shouting and howling, and you're constantly on alert because you don't know if you're going to get shanked in a prison. Imagine when they come home how stressed they are, and they just want to unwind, and they want to open up a pack of cards. How fucking dare you, Mr. Goldin? Mr. Ken Goldin? Who re-slabbed that fucking Illustrator Pokemon while it was up for auction. And now it's sold for 16.5 million, whatever it is. Literally committing fraud on fucking camera. And a lot of hobbyists who are into Pokemon TCG are saying that thing probably was never a PSA 10. That was nothing more than a flex. And people now are getting pissed off at this hobby, at the hobby in general. Pokemon, TCG, or sports card collecting. It's out of control now. Maybe there are people out there who are sports card collectors that have true emotional problems. And the one thing that keeps them stable, let's just say if they have autism or Asperger's. I've talked about it on camera. I deal with 9/11 related post-traumatic stress disorder, which over the years, I've finally been able to manage, keeping control over. It doesn't mean you're going to go, ham. It just means you deal with survivor's guilt. You have a little bit of regret in your life. Should I have gone back? Was I correct in going home? You wrestle with certain questions in your mind. And certain images are so burnt into your brain that you can never let it go. There's no letting it go. Now, I was always told again by the Star Wars homos out there, let it go, let it go, let it go. But they were always pissed off at me because it would be that group and then me off to the side. Jealousy, essentially. That's what DEI is. Jealousy. They think that because you have a certain skin color and you have certain belly flaps and certain skin flaps or moles and potato chip grease between your skin flaps, or if you identify as a bottle of eye drops or a bar of soap, that you deserve that job without any training, without any skill. Well, that's not how it works. It's called meritocracy. And if you earn your reputation, what do you want me to do? If I'm a standout guy, tough fucking shit for all of them at that time. Fuck them. Because I had event organizers that would actually say, hey, we don't want them. We want you. Yeah, but they're my friends. And I actually stood up for a lot of them. They really don't know how many times I said, what about the rest of them? We want you. So what do you want me to do? I have to pursue the fucking path that's laid out before me. And of course, the jealousy. Well, not everybody can sit on a cloud like you. I'll never forget the words of one of them when they fucking said that to me. Never forget your life experiences, folks. And this Ken Goldin doesn't seem to realize that some people out here have to work a lot harder than others and have gone through a lot. Imagine, again, I mentioned our military, men and women under constant fucking fire. And they see their buddies out in the field blown to bits with landmines and fucking weapons and everything else. And they have to go home with that. And the only thing that seems to help their brain stabilize, because they're dealing with those images of reality, is to open up a goddamn pack of cards. What do you think about that, Mr. Ken Goldin? How about Mr. Ken Goldin pick up a fucking AR-15? Let's put some camos on him and send him into fucking Syria. How about that wonderful battle over ancient dirt in Israel and fucking, Palestine? Let's send him into the fucking battle. And then we'll talk about how poor people are. It's so fucking insulting, folks. It's insulting. It goes to show how far the greed in these hobbies has come. And it's up to you to put a stop to it. And I'm proud that I have the customer base that I do, because if there's someone out there who I know can't afford this, at least I have this to offer, for example. And they're happy. And the messages I get from my customers are all positive. They're all positive. Not everybody has enough money to afford this thing. There are people that will save up for months to get one of these. But of course, there is appreciation in the hobby. In other words, the value will go up based on demand and supply, or supply and demand, basic economics. The less of a thing that's available, the more the cost is, because of a thing called scarcity. This is economics 101. Know this stuff. Of course, we have the odd anomaly of the Shohei Ohtani rookie, the batting rookie, the Bowman Chrome base rookie. There are now over 5,000 PSA 10s in the population, and they're still fetching $3,500 each. I guarantee I can sell this in about a week. Somebody out there would buy this for that, if I chose to. I'm not going to do that because I wanted one of these for my personal collection. And if I fell under financial hard times, I'd sell it. But there are people that can't afford that. So what do? I just sold one today. They'll buy things like this. That's a Shohei Ohtani as well. It may not be this, but at least they have a Shohei Ohtani of some type that they can afford. And I don't blame a lot of collectors for going in this direction. Shame on Ken Goldin. You don't know how hard the working class people are. You don't know how the way the economy is going these days, and a lot of it, yes, I am a Trump supporter, but he's dropped the ball considerably, especially recently. Now with the Supreme Court decision with these tariffs, yeah, we have been ripped off. I personally am tired of paying for other people's shit. We should not be paying for shit across the seas. We are the United States, man. We have to be better than this. We got plenty of fucking oil here to use of our own. We got plenty of resources to use of our own. But unfortunately, there's certain things that we don't have that other people need, that we have to wheel and deal for through trade. But because of all these tariffs, the cost of things have gone up. And it's hurting small businesses. Thank God I deal with only United States customers. I've only had maybe like one or two Canadian baseball card collectors order cards off me. But the envelopes I get are right here in the United States. The labels I get, for the most part, are here in the United States. So I don't have to worry about extra tariffs or taxes. The only time I get worried about that is when I buy my German soccer jerseys, like my Bayern Munich stuff, or like the German national team jersey I bought, I bought that from soccer.com, but I have the lifetime membership, so I get automatic discounts. Plus you add up points on top of that as well. But the tariffs are already built into those prices because they had to import them from overseas through Adidas and or Bayern Munich and or the German national team, or the Deutsche Fußballbund, as they call it. So no, the prices have not gone down, they've gone up. That was one of Trump's campaign promises, wasn't it? I don't see it, do you? Maybe at the gas pump. But Ken Goldin doesn't seem to give a shit, because now a struggling family has to choose between paying $20 for a full tank of gas so that they can get their kids to school, or putting $20 worth of food on their table. Ken Goldin doesn't seem to realize that you got people that are busting their ass, that want nice things, but because they're too expensive, they have to find alternatives. That's why in sneaker culture, why do you think bootlegs exist? These are real. These are authentic. I got these from Soul Priorities. They only have authentic shoes. But these retail for over $200. These are the 2025 white cements. And I got the 2016s right here I just started wearing. And I showed how I repainted these on camera as far as the mesh is concerned, because these turned yellow because they were sitting up on my sneaker rack for all these years. But a lot of sneakerheads got sick and tired of buying sneakers off of third parties on eBay and StockX and GOAT. So people were forced to default to bootleggers and buy fake shoes because they don't want to pay $700-800 to some worthless hip hop asshole looking dickhead that doesn't bend the brim of his hat. You know what I mean? This fucker grabbing his crotch, walking around like he's got testicular cancer, trying to be cool when he's really not. But I bet you hit him with a baseball bat, you watch how fast you improve that limp of his. Charging $700 for a $200 pair of fucking shoes. Give me a break. And people are tired of that sort of thing. And I try to be reasonable over at my eBay store with my customers, because I know a lot of you are having hard times. When it snowed, a lot of people couldn't get to work. A lot of people couldn't get their kids to school, and I had sympathy for that. And that's why I did those eBay auctions over at my eBay store, and people scooped them cards right up and got them for much cheaper than what they really were. And that makes me feel good, because at least I know people had their cake and they got it too. Get fucking real, Mr. Goldin. Come down to our level. Yeah, I run a sports card business. It may not be like what you do, but I'm the average Joe who knows what it's like to not have food in my refrigerator, to not be able to pay the electric bill. Maybe I don't have enough money to pay my rent. And I'm so stressed out with all of this stuff. All I want to do is open up a pack of baseball cards. I can't do that because of the fucking breakers getting all the allocations. And it's turned into gambling. What do you think of that, Mr. Ken Goldin? Sir, you want to show how good you are? Give away some of your cards. Do half-price sales like I do, like when I auction off my cards every so often. I've had penny auctions. My customers know that. I've had penny auctions to try to clear out some of my cards so that people can get cards for cheap. I've done it. I did it recently with that snowstorm, and I kept my word. I auctioned off a whole series of cards to my customers, and people were happy because they couldn't get to their jobs because they were snowed in. And I'll probably do it again. There are a ton of cards I want to relist for auction, starting at a penny or 10 cents or 99 cents or something like that. And it was a very good success. What's your excuse, Mr. Ken Goldin? $16 million for a fucking Pokemon card because of this jackass? And yet he's been in this Logan Paul, whatever the fuck his name is, has been caught up in so many scams himself that for you to re-slab that Illustrator card while the thing was in the middle of auction, the idiot or idiots who bought that card may not, and I'm alleging this, may not even be a true PSA 10. And a lot of hobbyists in the Pokemon space have said that thing may not even be a PSA 10. And if you are a true collector and a true hobbyist, you'll know that PSA, like any other, well, now everything is under the umbrella of PSA except for CGC and TAG, that grading companies are wildly inconsistent. That's a fact, and you all know it. Ken Goldin really needs to go out to California or places in New York and Chicago and drive around the poorest sections of these towns and see how people live. It was like that here in Charlotte for a while before the city council did something. We had entire sections of Charlotte occupied by homeless encampments. And I might as well say it because, well, there's nothing to stop me from saying it. Even here where I live, there are occupants of this property that are low-income housing, that they were formerly homeless. They are getting Social Security, but it's not enough for them to have their own apartment like I do. I pay full rent here where I live. These people can't afford that because they only get so much in Social Security money. So Mecklenburg County foots the rest of the bill. It's like a second chance for a lot of these people. Some of them are good. A lot of them are fucking bad. One of which I had an issue with last year. I talked about it here on the channel, a knife-wielding fucking maniac who's still here, by the way, and I don't know why. And I have my finger on the nuclear launch codes to issue an order of protection against him should he get out of line. I have that power to do so because I'm the one that filed the police report against him. And in a way, I think it was forced against the powers that be because now we have a Democrat governor, a Democrat fucking city council, and a lot of these properties are forced to take these people in. Some of them are legit. Some of them, I come up here on my patio, I'll give them a beer or two, cook food, all that kind of stuff. We'll sit and bullshit for a while. They're actually decent folks that just got a bad rap, that were at the wrong place at the wrong time, or just they were dealt a really bad hand. And I sympathize with people like that. And I feel bad. And I will give people food. I've given people food, sneakers. My buddy Wolf was such a person. He tried to unalive himself twice here in my home. And I hoped I saved that man's life, or at least extended his life until he died of a heart attack. I feel he died of a broken heart. I closed his eyes in the hospital, right here at Atrium. But he was such a person. He was so naive about American society because he came from an Indian tribe out west. Didn't really understand us goofy fucking Americans. But he trusted me. And I had him in my home. He let me use his washer and dryer once in a while. He was really good like that. One of the nicest people I have ever met. It's actually a loss to society that we no longer have Mr. Wolf, Mr. Robert Hummel, walking amongst us anymore. What about him, Mr. Goldin? Why don't you open up an orphanage? Open up a bunch of homeless shelters. You got all that money. Do like what I do. Give out clothes and food to people. I don't have a lot of money, but I still do it. I don't need costumes and fucking pins and tuxedos and stupid handshakes like the Freemasons. Like I used to be a fucking Freemason. Was it Tubal Cain? The secret word. I don't need secret handshakes and bullshit to prove what kind of man I am. I think the more a person suffers, the more character it builds. Just because you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube puzzle doesn't mean it's fucking ordained like these people believe. That you could put together a TV stand without reading the instructions. Therefore, because you don't need the instructions and you're hands-on, that means you're closer to God as a result. Get the fuck out of here. That's the dirty secret of Freemasonry, by the way. In other words, they look at a light bulb and they instantly understand the concept of what it is to screw in a light bulb. And because of that, it brings them closer to God. Get the fuck out of here. Everybody wants to know the dirty secret of them bastards. Well, there you go. I just told it to you. So I understand that this is a bell. I understand that the bell makes a sound. I understand the purpose of the bell, which is to get other people's attention. And I understand the mechanics of how this works. And I did all of that without reading an instruction manual. Therefore, I must be closer to God as a result. And that's where their arrogance comes from. There is no secret. That's what it is. Anyway, I'm kind of going off topic here. But I hope all of you understand where I'm coming from with all of this. And a lot of you are in those situations where, things in your life that have happened to you, like what happened to me with this fucking woman cheating on me on fucking Valentine's Day. I didn't ask for that. I am the victim here. And I've had to deal with shit like that for many, many years of people using me, taking me for granted, and taking advantage of me. And trying to get me into trouble for their bullshit. That is not narcissism. I have not, will not, and shall not ever accept responsibility of other people's bad behavior. Never, ever, ever. And I will die on that hill. Pardon me. But I am like many of you who have been through the meat grinder, who probably have hard jobs, who have a hard and difficult life. You're making just enough to keep the roof over your head. You're just barely making the mortgage payments. You have a stressful fucking job and a stressful life. And all you want to do is sit there and get away for a little bit and lose yourself in a pack of baseball cards. And you can't do it because of people like Ken Goldin and Jeff Wilson and Pac-Man and many others like him. Or them, I should say, excuse me, in the plural. That this hobby is nothing more than greed and sloth. It's nothing about flexing and prestige. I mean, look at Logan. It was Logan Paul, right? Was walking around with the fucking Illustrator around his neck on a gold chain. Can you do that? Would you do that? You're essentially making yourself a target by doing that. Be a little bit more humble and subdued. And again, the only time I flex is when I come under attack or people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I flex not because of people that don't have a lot of money, who wish they can have the jerseys and hats and all that kind of stuff but can't afford it, because you do have a lot of fucking scum that are out there that think they know it all and are entitled to things. And most of these people are con artists and are trying to take your money out of your pocket. And they hate my guts, and they hate the guts of Pat the NES Punk and Not Tripping and Opossum Bud and Rattle Pokemon, because they call it out on a regular basis, and rightfully so. Ken Goldin really should be made to be stripped down fucking naked and dumped in the middle of a homeless encampment somewhere in Chicago or in Los Angeles. And then let him see what it's like to live out of a fucking trailer. Or wonder where you're going to get your next meal. Or do like what I did when I was homeless. I went around collecting fucking empty beer cans and bottles just to have an extra $2 in my pocket. That I could buy a cheeseburger from fucking Burger King and wash my dick off in a sink. That's a fact, and that did happen. Somewhere around here. Oh, actually, it's right here on my desk. It was meant for me to talk about this. You see this card right here? This is from the New York City Parks Department. It was the only place where I can go and take a decent shower. And it had an Olympic-sized indoor pool. It was the only place I could take a shower where I can actually feel like a human being again. To at least have some dignity. And where did I go after that? Sleep in my car on a pile of fucking cardboard. Even my own family threw me under the fucking bus. And it took my father to die for them to finally realize what they did was wrong. And some of my family are still paying the price, because some of my family still won't listen to me when I tell them to do certain things, and they won't listen. And there's more and more and more suffering going on. Fucking listen. When God puts signs in front of you, open your fucking ears, dumbass. But I know what that is. There it is when I was homeless. My Parks Department card, so I can at least have a place to shower and keep warm. Where I wasn't burning up gas in my car. Because I couldn't afford to pay for fucking gas in my car. You have no idea what that was like, folks. When Ken Goldin said what he said, it resonated with me how out of fucking touch people like them are. Again, I'm sure he worked hard for what he's got. But don't be fucking condescending to people like that. I only condescend to people who don't know what they're fucking talking about, or are fucking trolls, or dumbass fucking idiots who listen to everything they're told but don't come to the source. Gullible motherfuckers. Don't we use old school language like this anymore? Gullible. Easily led. Ass to mouth like the human centipede. And I have every right to be angry, upset, let down, hurt, betrayed. I have every right to express these feelings as I've been through it. And Ken Goldin clearly said something that really touched a nerve with me that I find personally offensive. How does he know what the average fucking customer is going through? Maybe they can't even afford hot dogs, some of these people. Many of you wouldn't even buy my products. Well, I'm going to tell you a dirty secret about the sports card hobby. And a lot of you are going to go, shh, don't say that. The prices are made up. They're pulled out of thin air, like credit cards. There's no money on a credit card. That money is pulled out of thin air, if you understand basic economics. Whenever you apply for a credit card, there is no money attached to that. There's no physical, tangible anything like gold certificates or silver certificates back in the days. There's no gold, platinum, or silver. There's nothing tangible. It's money pulled out of thin air. You know where the prices of these come from? Out of thin air. The price of these are made up, even for me. They're made up. It's make-believe. Make-believe. And a lot of these sports card people know it. But because of all the hype, like with people with Ken Goldin out there, and I just got somebody unliked this video. I saw the like count drop. I'll tell you why, because they know I'm telling the truth and they don't like it. It's offensive to them. Well, fuck them. The price of these is conjured out of thin air. Where are these prices coming from? The individuals holding on to these cards. That's who. They're made up. When these go into auction, the prices are made up based on demand and supply. And who's willing to pay the most for something that truly has no value. It's a photograph of a man, like Sports Card Radio would say. The value of these cards is pulled out of thin air based on supply and demand. The prices are made up, folks. What's the matter? You can't handle the truth? Because that's a fact. Just like credit cards. When you apply for a credit card, that money is pulled out of thin air. There's no money attached to that card. It's just a piece of plastic that you're running up the numbers for something that doesn't exist. Don't you understand economics? Or does anybody have the intellect or 3 brain cells to rub together to realize that when it comes to this hobby, oh, believe me, I'm happy that these things do have some dollar amount attached to them. If God forbid I run into financial hardship, I know I can sell things like this. But the value of these is pulled out of thin air. They're pieces of paper, just like our money. Who's making up the prices of these? The person selling them. That's who. And then when one goes up, they all go up. And then all of a sudden, Cooper flag, Cooper flag, Cooper flag. Everybody jumps on the hype train. All right. And I have an example of that right here, Paul Skeens. When that one of one patch auto came out, everybody got on the fucking bandwagon. It was all hype. Look at what happened with Wander Franco. Everybody got on the hype train with him. Look how that turned out. Everybody got on the Cooper Flag bandwagon. Now look at what's this quarterback from the New England Patriots? Everybody got on his bandwagon and paid all of this money for that fucking rookie card. And then the Patriots lost, and now the value of that card dropped because of hype. Because of people that are trying to swindle you out of your money. Period. Just like Ken Goldin. The prices of these photos of men are pulled out of thin air. Based on hype. Based on popularity. Based on whatever it may be. But these essentially are just pictures of men. Like Sports Card Radio says. People don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. But there is an element in our society that looks at this photo of a man. And he's a man with skill. Paul Skeens is a fucking beast. And people want his cards because there are fans of things. I'm a New York Yankees fan. Here I am wearing an Aaron Judge jersey with a 9/11 anniversary hat on my head. I'm a fan of the sport. And I wanted a baseball card of Aaron Judge's, and I now possess one. I've sold many Aaron Judge cards. But I wanted a pretty high-profile card, and I end up having that in the form of this. Because I am a Yankees fan. I have a right to want to get these. But you have there's a lot of scams in this hobby where all of a sudden, let's just say we have a three-peat with Aaron Judge or a three-peat with Shohei Ohtani. Immediately they'll start propping these cards up and start, you got to have it, you must have it, you got to have it. And then the talking heads will come out of the woodwork like they always do here on YouTube, pumping and promoting these cards. And people who want to get them can't get them because of the exorbitant amount of cost that it takes to acquire one of these cards. And for a lot of people, in truth, all they can afford, they can't afford this. So they have to go to this. And I don't blame them at all. And there's no shame in that. There's no embarrassment in that. There's nothing wrong with that. People are fans of things. They don't care about the fucking value or the potential value or investing. They don't care about that stuff. People are fans of things. And people just want these for escapism. And the likes of Ken Goldin have forgotten that. That no, not everybody can afford this, but that doesn't make them poor. It's because they got other things going in their life. Have you not ever seen that coins happen to have two sides to them? Here's a silver dollar. Okay? Has two sides to it. Every coin has two sides. Does he not realize that some people out there have very difficult lives? That people are making just enough money to get by, and they want these cards and they can't get them because they can't afford them because, even though they are doing the right thing and they're honestly taking care of themselves, you make them fucking feel bad. You literally make them feel fucking awful, as a matter of fact. Oh, because you don't have this card and I do. Ha 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 ha, you are poor. That's not how it works. People genuinely want this card but can't get it. And then they go to cards like this. As they should, and rightfully so. Not because they're poor, because they have no other options. They have no other choice. But some people, Mr. Goldin, are so fucking humble to have this card in the first place. They have no use for this. Oh, look, he threw an Aaron Judge card over his shoulder. It's my card to throw where I please. Fuck you. I'll throw my cards wherever I want them. You might not like it, too bad. Fuck you. There are people that appreciate little things. They don't have to have expensive things. It's like Tiny Tim. Every year when Christmas comes around, a Christmas story, you see the Ghost of Christmas Present with Tiny Tim in it. That the family is happy to be together. Even though Tiny Tim has one foot in the grave, there's a reason why that particular story is told. during Christmas. That some things mean more than presents. Having food on the table and having family and friends around you is more important than having money. Having expensive things. You don't have to have expensive things to be happy. And to fucking rub that in people's face, Mr. Goldin, somebody needs to, well, again, this is just me being facetious. I'm not telling anybody or encouraging anybody to do something. But a lot of these rich assholes really need to be put in their place. They need to be dropped off and left naked, standing in the middle of the fucking streets of Baltimore, for example, with gang violence and all that shit. Let them see what it's really like. Let's see, what's this here? Got a bunch of messages on WhatsApp I didn't even see. I'm very fortunate I have the things I have. But never take anything for granted. Never, ever, ever. And Ken Goldin has clearly forgot where he's come from. We have all had humble roots and humble beginnings. And there are some people that want to enjoy this hobby and cannot, because they cannot afford the resale. Have you seen what a hobby box of Topps Chrome, or a jumbo box of Topps Chrome basketball goes for on the resale market? Will you pay that? I won't. Why should I? There's some worthless asshole that's not even a collector. He's just there to make a quick buck. I am a collector. I am a hobbyist. And I should be able to get things without having to pay 3, 4, 5 times what they're worth as soon as it comes out. That's the worst part. On fucking release day, these things sell out immediately and are flipped for 3, 4, 5 times more than what they're worth. That's why the evidence is literally in my hand. This is why sneaker culture has died. And I'm glad that Nike now is flooding the market with these sneakers so that everybody gets a chance to get them. Yeah, we all want that special rare card. We all want that Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. And this is not me flexing. We all want this card. But for some people, they're never going to have it. So they have to find other ways of obtaining a Ken Griffey card. That won't break the bank because of the astronomical price of what these are going for these days. Again, I look at this from both sides of the coin. Don't be fucking condescending, and don't put people down like that. Again, if you don't know what you're talking about, I will flex. If you're trying to be an asshole troll, I will flex. But for the people that are out there, and I get that, man, I get that. I understand you more than you know. You don't have to put up with that kind of language to be condescended to by some asshole who clearly forgot that he has to take a shit first thing in the morning, just like you do. And I bet you when he wipes his ass, a little chunk of that shit gets on his fingertips, like with the rest of us. Be fucking real. When a lot of you guys take a leak, you miss the brim, just like I do. So does Ken Goldin. When he sneezes, a big chunk of fucking snot will fly out of his nose into the palm of his hand. Or maybe egg yolk looking phlegm will fly out on his table or on his computer screen. Just like me, just like you. Just like the earwax that comes out of his ear every so often, like it does with me, just like it does with you, or the crust at the corners of your eyes. People forget that they're fucking mortal and that they're human. You don't have to fucking condescend to people like the way he did. Doesn't have to be that way, folks. Shame on you, Ken Goldin, and shame on these fucking talking heads. And the likes of Jeff Wilson and people in the Pokemon space and Pac-Man and the Breakers for flexing because of the greed in the hobby. Look what happened recently with this one case of this one of one card being literally stolen from a customer that probably paid a lot of money to get either a team or a player card from a box break. And then this person just disappeared off the face of the earth. And now the person that paid that money who could have got a one-on-one card now got taken for a ride. It's bullshit. And it's being encouraged by Jeff Wilson and fucking Pac-Man and Backyard Breaks and Ken Goldin and Logan Paul and all these other fucking assholes that are out there. And good, honest to goodness, humble, good people who want these things can't get them. Even when new product comes out, you can't get it. I tried. I mentioned it a couple times. Last year, you remember what happened with Top Sapphire? I ordered 2 boxes, cost me $900. Money was taken out of my account. I'm like, wow, I actually got me Top Sapphire. Holy shit. The money was refunded almost instantaneously and put right back into my bank account. You know why? Because of the breakers and the bots. I was denied my right as a collector to get Top Sapphire last year. And now this latest set of Top Sapphire came out. I tried it again. I didn't bother making a video about it. I couldn't get it. Every time something new comes out, the bots grab it. The breakers get it. And regular schmucks like you and me can't get this stuff. And we're forced to go through fucking breakers? No. You shouldn't have to. You don't have to. And I hope that everybody that's ever bought baseball cards off me, I really hope you find enjoyment and pleasure in getting those cards. I really do. Especially if you're going through hard times. If you're going through financial hardship, if you're going through personal issues. Maybe you've contemplated yourself. And you have a baseball card of your favorite hero. And it's the one prized possession that you have. And you cherish and you honor that thing. And I hope you appreciate that. I know you do. Like my dad's vintage baseball card collection. I don't care how much they're worth. A lot of them are destroyed. But they're my dad's baseball cards. That's what matters more. They're my father's baseball cards. That means more to me than anything. Not some Ken Goldin asshole thing where you can't afford to buy my cards. You would never buy my products anyway. Well, now you made us not want to buy them even more just out of fucking principle alone, dickhead. It's true. It's people like Ken Goldin and Jeff Wilson and the likes of them and Pac-Man and everybody else that's pulled some fuckery, all these box breakers, that makes this hobby not a hobby anymore. It's not. It's become a business. And maybe in some way I'm guilty of that as well, because I do sell baseball cards on eBay. But at least I try to be reasonable and fair. But when Ken Goldin said that, and I waited for a couple of the typical talking heads here on YouTube to discuss this topic, I immediately thought of firefighters, EMTs, police officers, military personnel, school teachers, bus drivers, your blue-collar worker, or maybe you're somebody going through a hard time. Maybe you've got medical issues. You can't afford these baseball cards. And again, I got 2 examples of that right here, on the low end and on the high end. And I got lucky. The only reason I have this is because the seller sold it due to the fact that the original holder had a big crack going up the middle, and sold this for $300. And I reholdered it with SGC, and now I have what could be a $1,500 card. But I'm a Yankees fan first and foremost. That's what's more important to me than I'm an Aaron Judge fan, and I have his jersey on me right now. But there are people out there who I feel genuinely, I feel kinship with, who go through hard times, that don't have a lot of money and take more enjoyment out of this. They probably resent this, and I wouldn't blame you. You probably put more sentimental value into a card like this. Now, I don't blame you. Everybody has their wants, needs, dreams, and desires. And you don't have to have those thoughts, dreams, wants, and desires to be stepped on by somebody that clearly is out of touch and doesn't know what a lot of you are going through financially. Like when this snowstorm hit, for a lot of you, I mean, thank God here the snow melted very quickly. I live in a small town, but at least thank God for the weather. The snow melted within a couple of days. But a lot of you, you know, who depend on your jobs, who live paycheck to paycheck, can you afford a thing like this? And have to be told by somebody like Ken Goldin that you're too poor? Let him drive through fucking 15 inches of snow. Or go work in a retail store, having a boss barking over your fucking ear all day long on a construction site. Let him do that. You all work hard, man. I know you work hard. I know a lot of you are hardworking people. You don't have to tell me that. I know that. Just do me a favor, folks, if you haven't done so. I haven't e-begged here for a little bit. Do me a favor, if you haven't done so, hit that thumbs up button for me and subscribe to the channel. The channel grows because of all of you. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but hey, too bad, man. I'm going to say my piece. You know, there are people who work very hard for whatever little money that they make. And a lot of people today are struggling. And some people cannot afford this. And they're very happy to have this. How dare you, Ken Goldin? You have families out there that are having to pick and choose whether to pay for one of your stupid fucking graded cards or put food on the table for their families. How fucking dare you? How dare you, Ken Goldin and Jeff Wilson and Pac-Man and the rest of you fucking con artist scumbags. And you box breakers out there are just as guilty. You're just as guilty. I try to be sympathetic to their cause as to why they do it, but at the end of the day, they're profiteers as well. In some way, I'm probably guilty as well. I wouldn't, you know, people can look at me like that too. Well, you're part of the problem as well. I'll accept that. But at least I try for my customers. I proved that even recently with the most recent auctions that I had because of the snowstorm, and I kept my word. And people got cards for much cheaper than what they're valued for, and I'm happy for them. I'm not trying to make $1 million here. I just want to make sure my lights stay on. And if I'm able to buy things to review on the channel, I'm happy with that. Not trying to live in a lap of luxury. I live in a one-bedroom apartment, for God's sakes. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I have a beautiful view. I have fantastic friends. I don't need to have luxurious things. This is as close to luxury as I have, are my sneakers and my jerseys. Everything else, I'm lucky, I'm fortunate. Ken Goldin doesn't seem to agree. You have to be Scrooge McDuck swimming in a pool of coins. Fuck you, Ken. How's that? So what solutions? Well, Topps has this new, and I talked about this on the channel a while back, where there was a piece of paper that you fill out where you'll be allocated boxes and boxes of cards, which is now happening. They need to stop allocating product to fucking breakers. There's no way to maintain a one per customer thing because people have VPNs. They'll know how to change their IP addresses. I think everything should go back to old school mail and a driver's license. You know, like how people are pissed off now that, you know, YouTube and Discord are requiring driver's licenses and photo ID cards. I think that's what's going to happen. Sorry if people don't like that. They may say, oh, it's a very invasion of my privacy. But the only way to stop people from double dipping, I think they should surrender their ID cards. One per customer. That's it, period. And it's unfortunate that content creators have to police the fucking hobby space like this. By the way, again, folks, if you're new to the channel, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel to grow. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I know this is a bit of a controversial topic I'm talking about, but enough is enough with this bullshit. You know, I'm not just a baseball card seller of low-end baseball cards, but I'm also a collector with all the packs I've opened up. And I stopped opening wax because of situations like this. The whole Logan Paul thing with the Illustrator being cracked open and put into a brand new holder while it was in the middle of auction. And then Ken Goldin stepping on people saying you're too poor to afford this shit. Fuck you, Ken. Live on the street like a lot of people do. Be like a lot of families who have no choice but to live in hotel rooms because they lost their homes because they couldn't pay their fucking mortgage. And you're worried about them buying a photo of a man in a plastic holder like this? Fuck you, Ken. Fuck you, Ken. Ken Goldin. You don't know what people are going through out here. I just went to a whole hour-and-a-half tirade about how I was homeless and went through all this bullshit myself. You don't know what people have gone through. Here's a good response to that question. How about people stop submitting to PSA, SGC, and Beckett for 1 month? You want to get these business people? Well, listen, you hit them where it fucking hurts the most. Their wallets. Don't submit to the grading companies. Don't participate in Fanatics auctions. When new product comes out, don't buy it. Be a little patient. For 30 days, I challenge everybody out there for 30 days. Do not submit to PSA. Do not submit to SGC. Do not submit to Beckett. When new product comes out, do not buy it. Do not participate in Goldin auctions. Do not participate in Fanatics auctions. Hit them in the fucking wallet for 30 days. You do that and watch what happens. The domino effect that happens. They look at everything as fucking, you know why? That's why I'm glad I have the business model I have, because I already have income. I'm on a fixed income. I've already described it, why I'm on that income. I'm not going to get into the whole tirade again. You can go back and watch this when it's uploaded. I don't have to sell baseball cards. I do it because it keeps me busy. It keeps me sane. It boosts my self-esteem because it makes me feel useful again as a man. I love talking about this stuff. I'm a sports fan. I'm also a Transformers fan. I'm an 80s kid. I love sneakers. There are a lot of reasons why I do what I do. It's not all about profit, profit, profit. I'm lucky I get what I get financially from my customers. You know, there'll be days I'll sell no baseball cards. There'll be days I'll sell 15 or 20 baseball cards or more. Some days I'll sell one big card for like $100, and the rest of the days I'll sell a bunch of $1 cards. I'm grateful I get that because it puts food on my table, literally. This hobby pays for all the Red Bull I drink. As funny as it sounds, all the sugar-free Red Bulls you all see on camera. The hobby pays for that. And some of it goes into my bank account so I can help pay rent and the electric bill and very humble, basic things. It gives me something to do. It keeps me occupied, keeps me out of trouble, keeps me busy, keeps me focused. I'm not sitting here, putting ketchup in my belly button, dipping French fries into my belly button because I'm a fat, worthless pig who blames everybody but myself for my own personal failures. While I went through all of that bullshit and brushed myself off and stood up, and people don't like the fact that I'm still standing. That there are people to this day still trying to knock me down. And yet, the more I push forward, the more they fucking resent and hate me. Too bad. The average Joe cannot get these cards. That's why guys like Western New York, who calls this shit out, and he almost never calls out issues in the hobby. And he made this awesome video about a week or two ago that called out all of this bullshit that goes on. And he runs a business reselling singles like I do. And good for him for calling it out, because it gets to a point where it's like, when does it end? The gambling aspects of this hobby need to be fucking stopped. I hope, and I know, you know, these days I'm very anti-New York because I grew up in New York. I've been away from New York for 10 years, living here in the South because I don't agree with their politics. I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. I don't support duct taping your penis to the side of your leg and then insist everybody call you a girl. I don't think so. But the one thing I do support is this New York senator that called out fucking PSA for becoming a monopoly to control the hobby of card grading. I fully support that. It's finally something coming from New York that's actually useful. What will probably be an antitrust suit. The gambling needs to stop. Topps needs to be a little bit more fair how they allocate product. One per customer. That's it. All these retail chains out there, Target, Best Buy, Barnes and Noble, which I bought wax from, Lids, one per customer when you walk into, unless you're getting blaster boxes, maybe allowed 2, maybe 3, hanger boxes 3, maybe 4, but it's the big products that need to be regulated. One per customer. Fuck these breakers. And PSA themselves need to walk back their fucking standards for grading. They are way too strict anymore. At least for SGC at that time, they allowed certain things to happen. If it was a natural process of making these cards, certain cards had natural defects that at least SGC allowed in their grading. PSA needs to fucking follow suit. And they're all so broke, PSA. Oh, they're broke. They have too much product coming in. So hire more fucking people. You're making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of collectors. Hire more people. There are people that need jobs. But yet you bought up SGC and Beckett. And now your fucking crypt keeper clause are involved with the grading. Nobody's going to trust the grading companies. People are so obsessed with the PSA 10. They have to have a 10. It has to be a 10. It has to be a 10. PSA, I believe, and this is just me. This is an allegation. It's a legend. And it's just me thinking and putting in a thought. And it is plausible that PSA have intentionally increased their standards. It's not to slow it down. It's because they know fucking idiots that depend on reselling are obsessed with a 10. So they intentionally grade cards as a 9 because they know these dimwits are going to resubmit the card again and again. And it's what, $30 a pop? Plus whatever you value the card at, again and again until it comes back at 10. By that time, you've already paid for that card to be graded as a 10 4 times, 5 times, until you finally get your precious 10. And PSA runs off with your money. It's a scam. If the cards get cheaper, wouldn't people sell the cards as get hurt financially? I mean, everything, again, I said this before, everything is a risk. Everything is a risk. But the problem is that I look at this from the point of view of the average Joe who just wants a box of cards to open up. Maybe they have a son, 2 sons, a son and daughter. They want that box. They broke their ass. They saved up for a week or 2. You know what I mean? And their kids want to open up baseball cards. They want to introduce their kids to Pokemon. They can't do it. Why can't the average Joe? Why does everything have to go into the hands of certain people and not into others? Again, I believe in capitalism, first come, first serve, fine, with certain things. But we're talking about fucking baseball cards. We're talking about what's supposed to be a traditional hobby, like making puzzles and collecting stamps, collecting coins. Something that's supposed to be for everybody. But now it's turned into a fucking business where the average Joe cannot get their hands on product. And fathers cannot open up baseball cards with their kids anymore. And it's not right. I'm happy I deal with the customers I deal with. Very happy I deal with the customers I deal with. Because I know my customer base. A lot of people are hardworking blue-collar people. Even some are white-collar. that are in the office for hours and hours and hours, breaking their ass to earn a paycheck to feed their families. And at the end of the day, they just want to forget dealing with employees that are in artificial competition who are trying to dethrone them from their place at work, from their position, because of the artificial competition. That's human nature for you, of course. Dealing with the assholes on the job site that are competing for your job. Excuse me. And having to deal with this kind of shit. And all you want to do is go home and unwind and open up a pack of cards. And you can't. Because the prices are so out of control. How many Breakers Delight boxes that I open up on this channel? I'll never do that again. Open up Breaker. You know how much that a box is? It's like $500 for a box of 12 cards, let's just say. And you don't know what you're going to get in those boxes. About half the boxes I opened, I got nothing. Nothing in a sense that it didn't equal the value of what I paid for that box. So who's it really for? And that's why I stopped buying wax. Plus, there's less product for more money. Scotty B of Spitballing Cards, he called it out. You're getting less product, or you're getting less cards per product, per pack, per box. And again, you see people buying case loads of these. I was buying cases of cards too, and I stopped because I knew better. I finally saw the writing on the wall. This is a fucking scam. And they keep adding more stuff to the product. More inserts, more parallels, you know, more legacy players. Like Topps Platinum Anniversary. Topps Platinum Anniversary is a great product, but when you actually look at it for what it is, and I have a whole bunch of them for sale over at my eBay store, it's all legacy players. Prisms, parallels, speckles, mini diamonds, rose toilies, mojo refractors, and then more inserts, more inserts, more inserts, and it's just the product gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and the chances of you getting anything decent have been significantly reduced. The only way you can guarantee yourself anything is to buy more, and that's the whole trick. It's like my former home of communist New York. You know why they keep raising the price on cigarettes? Because they know people are hopelessly addicted to it. And they know people need their fucking cigarettes, so they keep raising the price. And they keep raising the taxes on those things. Because they know people are going to continue to buy it no matter what. In other words, slavery is built into it. You are a slave to this shit. You know, and I love opening wax. I haven't opened up wax. Man, you know how much wax I found here where I live during the holidays? My two GameStops that I went to, shelves loaded with wax of all kinds. Lids, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, the mega Walmart out in Ballantyne. Oh, not Ballantyne. Yeah, Ballantyne, excuse me. No, Target is out in Ballantyne. I apologize. Forgive me. I'm getting my towns confused here. But you know what I'm saying. In Matthews County, excuse me. I'm getting the two confused. The Super Walmart out in Matthews County and the Target out in Ballantyne all have wax. And I could have went home with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of wax. And I decided it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because there are going to be more inserts, more parallels. You know, the product gets stretched out. So it, like this box, I was talking about this the other day. This is a complete set. Obviously, I've gone through it and pulled out most of the major cards. That's a complete set of Upper Deck. This is the low and high number complete set, right? And that's all you got. If this was today's complete set, and I'm talking about totally complete set, not the base set, but with all the parallels and all the refractors and all the relics, there'd be fucking 5 or 6 of these. That's how big these sets are now. And the chances of you getting anything are next to nothing. So it forces you to buy more and buy more. And that's the trap. I've been getting into baseball cards and I bought $10, $20 cards. Should I buy singles? I honestly, these days, you might as well just get singles. You don't have to buy off of me. But I'm saying in general, these days, you're better off buying singles. There have been multiple stories throughout the hobby space where men are literally spending themselves broke, running up their credit card bills. They're not able to pay their mortgages. They can't pay their rent. Because all they're doing is buying boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. And I'm sure some of these guys have to be married. Some of these guys have to have kids and girlfriends. And instead of focusing their attention where it's supposed to be, they keep buying pictures of men. When was the last time? I challenge anybody to go through my YouTube channel and figure out the last time I opened up wax on this channel. It was around the time I pulled this Barry Bonds auto that I stopped opening wax. I finally stopped. And what also caused me to stop opening wax is when that Topps Chrome Sapphire baseball was refunded to me. When it was clearly paid for, the money was taken out of my checking account, those boxes were mine, and then Topps redeposited the money back into my checking account because of the fucking breakers and the LCSs and the bots. And I lost out on that product. And that's why I said, I finally figured this shit out. I'm done. You're better off buying singles at this point. Unfortunately, this is the nature of the hobby. But people like Ken Goldin clearly are out of touch, are completely out of touch with the average Joe. When you have that much money and you got coins in your eyes like that, people do forget. And that's why I take it so personally with my eBay business, why I get upset on camera. When one mistake happens, if it's a mistake that I make or the post office fucks up and doesn't get somebody that paid me their hard-earned money to get one of my baseball cards, it gets me upset because I don't know the story behind that person. I never meet my customers. I never see my customers. I don't know my customers that way. But because I have a more expanded train of thought than most people, because I am passionate that way, and I operate from a logical standpoint, I'm not the only one that has gone through hard times. And I don't know how hard these people have worked to pay me $1 plus shipping for one of my cards. Maybe that's all they can afford. Right, Mr. Goldin? What do you think about that, Mr. Goldin? Or Jeff Wilson, or Pac-Man, or Backyard Breaks, or any of these other fucking con artists that are out there? You don't know how hard people work to buy, like this card I sold recently. This card went for like 13 and change. That might have been the last of their money that they saved, and they chose to buy from me. And I care about that sort of thing because I don't know how hard this person worked to acquire this card. Ken Goldin wouldn't give a shit. As long as he's got your money, he doesn't care. I do. I know what it's like not to have food in my refrigerator. I know what it's like not to be able to pay the bills. I got a stack of bills piling up behind me. I have to file the tax paperwork for my business. I have to file my personal taxes. Rent is due next week. I have to get my annual renter's insurance paid. There are a lot of things I have to take care of. Believe me, I'm in the grind just like the rest of you are. That's why I'm more on the side of the customer than anything. And I take it very personally. That's why I chose, instead of buying a box, and I could have bought a box of 2018 Bowman if I chose to, but I went for the top dog in that set. And I decided to pull the trigger and get this because it wasn't worth it. How do I know I would get one of these? And then I would have to pay to submit. What is the most expensive card that I have? It's got to be that Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. Currently, it's this one. The most expensive one. And I'm happy I have it. I'm glad I have it. What is FNAF? Define FNAF. Whoever posted that comment. Define that acronym for me. What is FNAF? No, I don't. I don't play Five Nights at Freddy's. But again, folks, shameless e-beg. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel, and if you want to help to support a small business like mine, the link is in the description box below. You click on that link, the Carolina Collector 001. It'll take you directly to my eBay store. Thank you to my eBay customers. This morning I got these orders right here: a Fred McGriff Blue Prism, a Shohei Ohtani, and a Barry. Is that Barry? Oh, Bo Jackson. I'm sorry. A Bo Jackson 89 Upper Deck. So I'll get these out tomorrow if the weather cooperates. Plus the other two cards I got here, an Ellie De La Cruz I just listed the other day. That's sold. That's a Mojo refractor from Bowman. And of course that J-Rod that I showed on camera. So I'm going to end it right here, folks. I appreciate your time and your patience. Again, like always, this is a real shitty thing. The sports card hobby, it's revealing itself to be something that may not last for much longer, because all I have to do is look at what happened with the sneaker collecting space and how people got so fed up with the greed that was taking place that this is the direction that the sports card hobby is now going to end up in if it keeps going like this. Is that what you all want? Keep it up. That's what's going to happen. Keep it up. Keep up the greed and keep up the flexing and watch what happens. Pokemon TCG is under attack because of the smash and grabs, and now a collector's home was robbed of product and his personal collection. I'm well armed here in my home, according to North Carolina General Assembly 14-5 2.1.2 N.3. What is the most expensive card? Again, it's the Ken Griffey Jr. These slabs right here are my most expensive cards, these 6. I sold off all my modern slabs except for the Paul Skeens. How old am I? I'm going to be 49 in April. So I'm pushing 50 at this point. And the older I get, the more angrier I get at the world as a whole and society and the bullshit that takes place, because people are becoming the fucking Ferengi, Star Trek, buying and selling each other up a river. Mr. Ken Goldin, you had better reevaluate your words. You angered a lot of people, in particular somebody like myself who's been down that road, who knows what it's like not to be able to afford nice things. There are a lot of things I still wish I had. I wish I had a better car. It's just not meant for me to have right now. But I'm not going to cry over it. At least I have a car. Most people don't even have that. So I consider myself quite fortunate that at least I have a car that drives. You ever consider that, Mr. Ken Goldin? Don't condescend to people until you see things from... I'm not saying you have to save... Believe me, don't try to save the world. The world will not give you back what you give to it. I've learned that over the years, especially with that wonderful event that took place in my former home of communist, socialist, who cross-dressing, New York City. When 9/11 happened up there, nobody gives a fuck about 9/11 anymore. Unless you were part of it or involved in it in some way, people don't care about it. It's lost all of its meaning to me. That's why I don't walk around with the hats and the t-shirts. I mean, well, with the exception of this, because it's a Yankees hat. But that's why you don't see me with the t-shirts. That's why you don't see me going into a lot of detail about it anymore. There are no photos, or as a matter of fact, I used to have model airplanes and photos of 9/11 all over the fucking place. They're gone. All those t-shirts I ripped up, tore up, the photos I put away, The model airplanes I put away, the World Trade Center model that my dad bought for me when he was alive, I smashed it with a hammer because it's lost all of its meaning. It has no meaning anymore. You learn to move past certain things and gain strength from that. But you never forget. You never forget your roots. Never forget where you come from. And you never forget what it took to get you to a certain point. And there will always be people who are going to fucking hate me, who want to come after me, who want to slander me, who want to make up bullshit about me. But yet I still keep going. Unapologetically. And rightfully so. And to all of you that have been buying my baseball cards and all my other stuff off me, believe me, I get where you're coming from. Many of you break your ass just to earn a little bit of money, just for the right to buy this. Because many of you either, and in truth, find that this is too expensive, or maybe you have no interest in owning a thing like this, but you're still a fan, so you buy things like this. And you appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Ken Goldin, on the other hand, does not. He doesn't care if some of you dig holes in the ground, in the mud for a living. He doesn't care if you're garbage men. He doesn't care if you're school teachers. He doesn't care if you're police officers or firefighters or EMTs. He doesn't care if you're construction workers or highway people rebuilding the highway. He doesn't care if you're plumbers or electricians. He doesn't care. He just wants your money, so he can have an even bigger Scrooge McDuck pool. And what did I have for breakfast? Fucking turkey hot dogs. Now, I'm sure he has a wonderful, big, fancy breakfast every day. And I'm sure somebody cooks it for him, where I make all my meals myself. Nobody does it for me. Big difference there. Never forget your roots, folks. Never forget where you come from. And use those experiences to gain strength. And to have somebody like Ken Goldin be that condescending, saying that you're too poor to afford his stuff, fuck him. For 30 days straight, don't submit to PSA, don't submit to SGC, don't submit to Beckett, don't participate in Fanatics auctions, and don't participate in Goldin auctions. Hit him where it counts. Hit him in the wallet. That's all. And on that note, I'm going to end this live stream, folks. I want to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Thank you again to my eBay customers, my viewers, my subscribers, friends, family, neighbors, the staff that are here on the property, the ladies in the leasing office, the maintenance dudes that are always racing around in the golf carts, and really nice, fun-loving guys, ball breakers. But they break their ass. They deserve a break too, once in a while. Sometimes when I see them, I give them bottles of Gatorade, baseball cards, jerseys, whatever it is, bottles of soda. They break their ass. Show a little appreciation, man. A little appreciation goes a long way with certain people. Believe me when I'm telling you. It's not looking for favors, but it's like, man, I recognize hard work when I see it. I come from a construction family. I know when people are breaking their ass. Show those people some fucking appreciation, Mr. Goldin. How dare you? You're too poor? Fuck you, Ken. Have a nice day, everybody.